going to discuss about the lecture 6, which is the foundation of language. So, do animals have language? This language is an ability that is uniquely human. So today I will examine both naturally occurring animal communication system and attempt to teach a human-like language to animals, particularly chimpanzees. There are a number of reasons why this topic is important. So first, it provides a focus for the issue of what we mean by the term language. Second is it informs debate about the extent to which aspects of language might be innate in humans and have genetic basis. Third is it may tell us about which other social and cognitive processes are necessary for a language to develop. And finally, of course, the question is of great intellectual interest, the idea of being able to talk to the animals. Animal communication system. So, many animals possess rich communication systems. Even insects can communicate. So, communication is much easier to define than language because it is the transmission of a signal that conveys information, often such that the sender benefits from the recipient's response. So, a wide range of methods is used to convey information. For example, ants rely on chemical messenger called pheromones. So pheromones is a chemical that an animal produces which changes the behavior of other animals of the same species. Also, honeybees produce a complex bugle dance in a figure of 8 shape to other members of the hive. The direction of the straight part of the dance represents the direction of the nectar that relate to the sun, and the rate at which the bee waggles during the dance represents distance. Primates communicate about stimuli for which they do not already possess signals, suggesting the communicative system has an element of creativity. So this is the design features of Hawkets. These are design features of a human spoken language. So design features. Design features provide a useful framework for thinking about how animals' communication systems differ from a human language. So these features have in common that they relate to the fact that language is about the meaning and provide us with the ability to communicate about anything. So many animals is rich and symbolic communication system that enables to convey messages to other members of other species that affect their behavior. Can we teach language to animals? Are animals in principle incapable of learning language? So this question is just one reason for the recent interest in attempt to teach language to animals. So it is possible that they have the biological and cognitive apparatus to acquire language, but have not needed to do so in the evolutionary. So on the other hand, perhaps only humans possess the necessary capabilities. So everyone knows that parrots can be taught to mimic speech. So Pepperberg took this idea further and embarked on an elaborate formal program of training of her African grey parrot called Alex. After 13 years, Alex had a vocabulary of about 80 words, including object names, adjectives, and verbs. But the research is focused on chimpanzees as they are highly intelligent social animals and are convenient to teach. There have been a number of examples where humans have tried to teach apes a human-like language. It's useful to bear in mind the distinction between teaching word meaning and syntax. An essential feature of the human language is that it involves both associating a finite number of words with particular meaning or concepts. So what are other cognitive abilities of chimpanzees? So primates have rich communication systems that they use in the wild. So the earliest attempt to teach apes language was that of Kellogg, who raised a female chimpanzee named Gua along with their own son. Gua never produced recognizable words and appeared to understand only few, but similarly brought up a chimp named Vicky as a human child and attempted to teach her to speak. This was also an attempt and turned it unsuccessful. But after 6 years, a chimpanzee could produce just four poorly articulated words such as mama, papa, up, and cup using her lips. Even then, Vicky could only produce these and a cultural croak, and only the Hayes family could understand them easily. So the vocal tracts of chimps are psychologically unsuited to producing speech, and it is likely that this was the main block to progress. So next is Washu. So Washu is a female chimpanzee who caught in the wild when she was 1 year old. So she is taught as an American Sign Language, or is a standard sign language used by people with hearing impairment in North America, just like spoken language. It has words and context. So Washer could produce about 85 signs and comprehend more. A few years later, her vocabulary had increased to approximately 150 to 200 signs. These signs came from many syntactic categories including nouns, verbs, adjectives, negatives, and pronouns. Next is what we call Sarah. So Sarah was a chimpanzee trained in laboratory setting to manipulate small plastic symbols that varied in shape, size, and textures. So Sarah produced mainly simple lexical concepts together describing simple object or action, and could produce novel strings of symbols. So the symbols could be ordered in certain ways according to rules. Together with symbols and rules form a language called Primates. In terms of Hackett's design features, all of the important ones appear to the present. Signs are used to present particular words, and apes can refer to objects that are not in view. So two sources of debate: methodological criticism of training methods and the testing procedures used in an argument over how the results should be interpreted. So, evaluation of work on teaching apes and language. The first sight, these attempts to teach apes human-like language look interesting and quite convincing. If we look at them in terms of Hackett's design features, all of the important ones appear to be present. Specific signs are used to represent particular words, and apes can refer to objects that are not in view. So the issue of semanticity, whether or not the signs have meaning of the apes, is a controversial one to which we shall return. Apes spontaneously learn that names refer to objects in a way that is constant across contexts. The issue is so important. As we saw earlier, there are more to the issue of possible animal language than simple intellectual interest. First, it is provide deeper insights into the nature of language and what's important about it. This discussion has clarified what makes human language different from verbiage or chattering when they see a snake, for example. So second, it is worth noting that although the cognitive abilities of young children and chimpanzees are not very different to their linguistic abilities, this suggests that language processes are to some degree independent of other cognitive processes. So, according to Chomsky, he claimed that the human language is a special faculty which is independent of other cognitive processes, that has a specific biological basis and that has evolved only in humans. So language arose because the brain passed in threshold in size, and only human children can learn language because only they have the special innate equipment necessary to do so. But Chomsky argued that only human possess a language acquisition device, or LAD, that enables us to acquire language. And even Primac has become far less to the claim that apes can learn a language just like human children. Also, he included that there is a major discontinuity between the linguistic and cognitive abilities of children and chimpanzees with the possessing innate. So the localization of function. So the brain is not a homogeneous mass, or parts of it are specialized for a specific task. How do we know this? First, we can study the effect of brain damage. So the brain is divided into two hemispheres. The two hemispheres of the brain are in part of specialized tasks. Broadly speaking, is right-handed people, and the left hemisphere is concerned with analytic. The right hemisphere is concerned with holistic, spatially based processing. An important consequence of this is that for a great majority of 96% of right-handed people, language functions are predominantly localized in the left hemisphere. So that's all for today. The end.